Mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple, and welcome to this week's Nadex Weekly Charts and Analysis. It is October 26, 2021. Last weekend of October. Halloween is just a few winks of an eye, and we are here. My little ones are all excited about it. Got costumes everywhere. The boy he's going to be a pumpkin. We're not going crazy this year, but the girl has already given us five different costumes that we need to be. So we got everything on standby, but we're looking forward to it. Anyway, in the markets, a lot of movement this morning. A little bit crazy, right? A little bit crazy. Some headlines, some movement. I would say overall some kind of crazy whipsaws, right? Hopefully, you guys were able to take advantage of those. But with that being said, let's just dive right into things today because there is a lot of movement, a lot of setups, a lot of things we have to cover today. So I want to make sure we get out of here at a decent time. Um, there we go. I was like, man, it's just not clicking. It's just not working today. For those of you that know, again, I do have the little one at home. So I'm two coffee cups in. If I am speaking a little bit too fast, I'm going to blame it on the coffee right now. Can't be held liable. You guys know how it is. What is he, like 16 days old now? So I actually had the night shift last night. So doing pretty well. I'm actually kind of surprised. We must have got the high test coffee or something. Anyway, for those of you that don't know me and don't know, my scenario at home, um, uh, I own a company called Keep Trading Simple, and I partnered with Nadex, and I help them do these education, weekly analysis sessions and education summits on a regular basis. Love the company, love what they have to provide, love teaching, and that's really what I'm here today to do is make sure that I give you guys something new, something you haven't seen. Um, I always call it the golden nugget, right? If you guys can get the golden nugget from today, then your time was well spent with me. If you guys have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask them in chat. If I see it, I will go ahead and do my best to answer it. If not, my support on the Nadex side will go ahead and take care of it for me, or I can always follow back around later. And at the end of this presentation, I will give my email address. You guys are more than welcome to email me if you'd like. So I've been trading since about I don't know, I say Y2K, but some people are like, what the heck is Y2K? 1999, right? When the world was supposed to end because computers couldn't figure out more than two digits. You guys remember that? That's when I started trading. I got into my first trade with my dad, actually, a little tiny stock, and by the time I heard about it, it was already in the dumping stage. Right? I heard it in the pump, and by the time we got into it, it was in the dumping stage. But through the years, learned a lot. Started with stocks and traditional options. Found currencies about 6 years in. Learned how to trade futures after that. Spent some time traveling around, then became a financial advisor. Realized very, very fast that even though you're on the inside, you get less knowledge and education than I had on the outside. It was kind of crazy, but I learned about bonds, which was awesome. Got to really, really get kind of another viewpoint that I didn't have from being on what I would call the outside, right? And then, ended up teaching. I actually used to work right down the street from Wall Street. I would walk past the New York Stock Exchange every single morning. It was awesome. The bull was actually right outside my office window. I could look at it, see all the people rubbing. It's funny. They rub the front and the back. I don't know why, but that's what people do. Tons of photographs taken with that bull. It's just crazy. Um, After that, I spent some more time traveling around. Met my wife actually in Canada, in Vancouver. We have little girl that's in this picture, and then the little boy who obviously is not in this family picture yet. But I try to stay busy, and the reason I'm telling you about my kind of family life at home and what's going on there is because again, a lot of people out there are telling you that need to spend 12, 14, 16 hours a day in front of these charts. Use technology, okay? You guys will hear me mention today alerts. I set alerts all over the place. Like I get emails nonstop. My wife yells at me all the time, "Why are you on your phone?" Because I'm getting alerts nonstop. I set alerts on a couple different platforms. I'm waiting for different entry setups. I am basically a price action trader. I am an if this then that trader, and that's how. I mean, in my eyes, that's the only way to do it. Um, so I use technology for my benefit. I'm hoping that you guys do today. And if that's one thing that you learned, then bam, score right there. I've done my job for the day. With that said, I don't use a lot of indicators. You're not going to see a lot of those on my charts. You're going to see a bunch of basically boxes, rectangles, horizontal lines. Um, I'm a price action trader. I'm looking at the way the candles are forming, understanding the wicks, the bodies, the formations, the percentages, those kinds of things. So if it is a little bit different and you guys get lost, again, don't hesitate to ask a question or shoot me a message or email afterwards. All right. So before we cover anything, and again, obviously we're talking about charts and risk. Got to bring up the Nadex risk disclaimer. So trading on Nadex involves risk and may not be appropriate for all, and members risk losing the cost at the end of the transaction, including fees. Now, you should carefully consider whether trading on Nadex is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions that you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results, and none of the material presented here is to be construed as a solicitation, recommendation, or offer to buy or sell any financial instrument on Nadex or elsewhere. Nadex is subject to U.S. regulatory oversight by the CFTC, and Nadex is a registered trademark of the IG Group. All right. With that out of the way, actually, I just realized I need to make one little change real quick. First things first, we're going to cover our upcoming news events. Basically, you guys have heard me talk about this before. I feel that understanding where news events are really helps you control your time management while trading. Um, Again, we know when the largest catalysts are going to be, or again, a majority of the largest catalysts are going to be. We can look days, weeks, months in advance, even a year in advance, and figure out when these news releases are going to be. That uncertainty, that kind of um, that targeted of a time where the market has to react. A lot of catalysts, a lot of trading opportunities. So I want to make sure for the rest of the week, we all know where we should be focusing our time and attention to go for, you guys have heard this before, biggest bang for your buck. Um, After that, what we're going to do is we're going to break down the indices and we'll look to kind of see what happened. A lot of movement, right? A lot of whipsawing. Started off very, very strong. Then we had some pullbacks. We'll talk about how those setups go. I mentioned one of them today, kind of in like a new kind of what I would say a new arrow in my quiver as far as my trading arsenal goes. Worked out great this morning. So I'll share that with you guys. Then we'll go over into Forex. Forex, again, is having a very interesting day. A lot of movement, a lot of reversals as well. And there's been some pretty good setups and ones that are coming that I believe later in the week, particularly with everybody this week who's got a monetary policy statement, right? All the news is splattered with the same stuff: inflation, tapering, transitory inflation. I mean, there's just many terms that they keep throwing out there, right? Well, we're at the stage now where we're starting to really get to the stage of when are you going to raise the interest rate? And that brings a lot of movement very, very fast in currencies. Okay, so there's a lot of opportunity. Now, if you don't like opportunity, you can go to sleep during the middle section, right? But there's a lot of opportunity in Forex in the next couple months. Really, all of next year, I think, is going to be kind of a blockbuster year for it, particularly. And again, I'm going to say this, and this may inflame some people, and I'm sure compliance is like, "What's he going to say? Don't offend anybody." You saw there was a South African country as well that now has a digital currency. They outlawed all crypto transactions, but they have their own digital currency. It's something that China is kind of rolling into, and I believe the United States is going to do the same thing. Is my personal opinion. Um, a digital dollar will be traded just like the regular, dollar pairs, right? It's just a digital format, so it'll be a little bit different, but it will trade the same exact way. I think there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of potential there. So it's one of those things you got to get used to. Last but not least, we will cover commodities: gold, oil, silver, and natural gas. Natural gas is down like 4%. So you guys know how much I love when natural gas is down because, again, we don't really have a shortage. We have plenty of it. I actually live in Maryland. There's a whole heck of a lot of it up in Pennsylvania. But there's this preconceived notion that, oh my God, we're going to run out of natural gas. And even though the weather has already said it's going to be a warmer year this year, it's not going to be as bad. You know, yeah, natural gas is going crazy. So we'll cover commodities last. All right. With that said, let's just dive right into charts. 9 minutes in is always a good a good amount. Oh, hold on. We got to go over here first. All right. So let me just click this down, and we're going to kind of cover what we need to look for the rest of the week. So today was kind of a wash. I mean, consumer confidence coming in at 10 today. Nothing really big there. Richmond Manufacturing Index came in. Those are good. I mean, those are positive numbers, right? Those are positive numbers. Oh, they changed this. What is this with the last 4 hours? That thing. Look at this. I'm still logged in and they changed all my settings. Have to change that later on and fix that back. Anyway, good consumer confidence numbers for today. I think tonight we have a great trading opportunity with the CPI. CPI is Consumer Price Index. It's what you and I pay. It's a great gauge of inflation. It's what most people use. Well, guess what? It's expected to be, again, an additional, an added 0.8%. Not transitory. Again, more increased inflation. 8:30 p.m. at night is an amazing time to trade. The reason why is because you don't have banks and institutions and large hedge funds, and you don't have their influence in the market. So it tends to be a little bit more pure. Okay. So with that said, if you guys are up tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you may want to jump over there around 8 o'clock tonight and check out and see what is happening with CPI for Australia. Okay, there could be some interesting moves. And again, gotta love this news trade. CPI right now, with everything going on, is probably the top three, top four news release right now for Australia as far as movement and the response you can get. Tomorrow morning, we go into durable and core durable goods in the United States. It can set the tone on the Dow. Okay, you may say, I don't know what a durable good is or a non-durable good is. Doesn't matter. All we're looking for is a miss, right? And you can see that they miss quite frequently, okay, on both sides. Why that is good for us is because, again, if the market is already prepared for a minus 1.1 and it comes in as a 1.8, like last time, the market's going to adjust it like, wow, that's much, much better than expected. The economy must be better. And again, that could send the indices going straight up. So, again, nice opportunity for us tomorrow morning to start it off. Then at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, again, 10 is, right around that crude oil inventory time is the reversal time, but the overnight rate is not expected to change. But again, the rate statement and the monetary policy reports, a lot of people are starting to ask when Canada is going to start raising their interest rates. Interesting question, right? We've seen a lot of Canadian strength. Why? Because of oil. But if they start raising their interest rates as well, that also gives Canada a pretty big leg up and a little bit more power in that, those pairings. That could be a pretty big runner when they mention that because again, once they say that, yeah, we're going to raise it X day, the market starts to adjust instantaneously. So again, great trading opportunity. Excuse me. Tomorrow at 10:30, crude oil inventory. So as we know, oil prices keep going higher and higher and higher because everybody's going back. We're basically, again, OPEC is like, no, we got to limit production. We got to stabilize price. And by stabilize, I think they meant double is what they actually meant when they said stabilize. But as you guys can see, last week we had a very, very tiny down draw, but that was after 3 weeks of huge surpluses. So this little tiny down draw really doesn't make up for the rest of this, but we'll see. Okay, we'll cover oil later. Don't forget the API report does come out later on today. That kind of gives us a foreshadow. The API report was way off last week, but again, it provided a lot of downward movement. And then again, this was a skyrocketing point after last week. And then we have the press conference, and then again, we have the BOJ giving their monetary policy statement. And again, Japan typically isn't a mover; it's more of a counter currency. So I don't think you have to worry about. Put it this way, I don't think Japan is going to be mentioning us raising interest rates, right? Because Japan doesn't do that. They keep them pretty much at zero to keep the currency weak. That's just how their economy is able to function. But we'll see what they have to say. Thursday, now we have the monetary policy statement for the EU. Now, we already know that the EU has done some strategic allocation, right? Not tapering, they have strategically allocated funds to those who needed it the most. What does that mean? It means that sectors that didn't necessarily need the funds, their money was pulled and it was put more towards the people that need it. They've mentioned end of year is when their official taper, when they're not going to spend as much, is going to happen. So it won't be dynamically allocated. We also know that, again, they're going to start raising interest rates in 2022. We may get a little bit more of an idea, but again, 7:45 in the morning, their business day is pretty much, it's late in the afternoon for them. Um, this could be a big market mover. Things like the euro dollar. Now, again, why the euro dollar is so important to trade? It's got it's the smallest strike width, right? So again, a lot of opportunity, early morning session. Again, we can get in and out of that one very, very fast. Then we have our advanced GDP. Okay, very, very important. It was 6.7 before. It's supposed to be revised higher. The advanced GDP quarter over quarter for the price index. Things are still getting higher. Still positive, all good on that front. Again, the recovery is basically here. It's hard to say that it's not at this point. So, excuse me. See, now I'm paying the price for the double coffee. I just drank it black. I should have like double coffeed it and sugared it, and it would have been like a Red Bull, but I didn't go there today. Then followed up by unemployment claims, and again another under 300, basically showing that we are kind of back to pre-pandemic levels. So a lot of news for the U.S. Then we have pending home sales, not a huge market mover. You can see that they're going down, but it's still positive, but not really what it was last time. Nothing really that we're going to trade off of. And then 8:30 p.m. Aussie PPI, another gauge of inflation. Right? Again, still positive. After everything we saw that morning, again, could provide a good opportunity, but not as good as the CPI. Friday, we have Swiss data. Economic barometer is supposed to go down. That's not great. German preliminary GDP quarter over quarter. That's a hot button right there for the euro. Again, euro dollar, euro pound, euro yen, all great pairs that we can trade at Nadex. And that will be affected by the German preliminary GDP numbers. Then we have CAD GDP numbers at 8:30. Again, jumping back on that dollar CAD as well as our PCE price index. I don't know. Again, it's still positive. It's not negative. It's still point two. You can see on this one, they tend to miss most times. If we look back really for the whole year, you can see that, sometimes they're right, but for the most part, except if it's at zero, they're a little bit off. And last time it was a miss to the top side as well. So we'll see. Again, consumer price index, or I'm sorry, core PCE price index, it's becoming more of a thing. 6 months ago, this wasn't a big deal, but now everybody's really starting to look at this one, and it's considered a high impact news release. This is another point three again, seeing even more inflation. I'll tell you right now, I don't care how good the indices are. They're going to start getting nervous because, again, that would be another gauge of inflation higher than expected, and the Fed is going to have to step in and do something, right? Then we have our consumer sentiment, and followed up by the Treasury currency report. And if you guys don't know what that is, again, it's considered a big impact, but I don't know. It's basically like, it outlines, countries that are, currency manipulators. We kind of already know that one. That page is kind of already, been played. Um, I don't know. I don't know that just again. It's a day before the G20 meeting, so like, are they going to try to inflame all the other countries? I don't know. I don't think so. But Saturday, Sunday, we have G20s. We'll get headlines on Sunday. I would say, and again, looking at this now, be very cautious holding any. I mean, again, at Nadex, you're not doing it, but if you're holding any positions external, be very cautious to hold any of this over the weekend. There's a lot that can be said or decided upon, particularly because many countries now, the UK has mentioned it. The Soviet Union has basically said it. Um, Japan has said it. That they are not happy either about the prices of oil at this point. So yeah, yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if something comes up with that. And then we go into Monday morning, and again, we don't meet again until Tuesday. But ISM manufacturing is also a big number, followed up by the RBA rate statement and their cash rate. And again, New Zealand has already risen. Are they there right now? It's not forecast, but they got to be getting pretty close too with all the CPI numbers this week. And that's 11:30 p.m. on Monday night. So a lot of big time, big movement, a lot of red over here for this week. Okay. And again, remember, Nadex gives us a good opportunity to be able to get into these things with three different ways, right? We can use the beforehand or the after. A lot of different strategies to play around these events. So a lot of trading opportunities. Some weeks it's like, oh my God, there's like 5 of these total, like maybe, and 2 of them are the same thing. There's a lot. Each day there's 1 or 2 of these opportunities. So again, I'm very, very happy with this week and what we can do with it. Okay. With that said, let's dive over to the indices. So here is ES, and I talked earlier this morning how ES was kind of basing. I was waiting for that kind of pullback on it, and we basically got it. I mean, we were looking for a pop. We saw that the VIX was down, right? Or I'm sorry, the VIX at the time, the VIX was all the way down here. The VIX has obviously picked up, and that's why we're seeing the indices kind of roll back to the downside. But we knew we were in a level where we were kind of looking for a long at the open, and we got it. And what happened was we came up, and then right there is 10:30. Okay, we ran into the 10:30 reversal. Thought we were going to get up to the 4,600. We got up to what, 45.90? Yeah, 45.90. Right at 10:30, and man, did that 10:30 reversal got us. And again, it happens again and again and again and again and again. The setup on this one was okay. Um, it wasn't the ideal 10:30 setup. I mean, it's coming up flat. It's been It's not like we have anything in close proximity to look at on that one. We saw that it was basing and it pushed up, but really once we started to see this kind of topping effect in here, right? Once we started to see that topping effect, you had to say, okay, listen, here's a low, here's a failure to go any higher. And if this breaks below here, probably got to go ahead and take that short, right? And that's exactly what happened. As you can see, it's a nice push to the downside. Gave us about what, 15, 16 points. And now we're really back down to really the European kind of start was right in here. We'll see if we can drive much past it. And there's probably headlines that are associated with this. It's just easier to do it this way. No, look right here. First story on the top. When is the BOC looking to raise rates? Confidence number, we're good. Is hyperinflation coming? Right? Have so much dollar debt, cash. There's that CPI number tonight. Yeah, look at this. Canadian dollar is rallying. Where is it? The CAD is rallying ahead of tapering BOC talk. So yeah, a bunch going on, but yeah, I would say this is more just again, it's a pretty standard roll. Nice little push down. I would say watch. There's a couple different areas where we could have buying in here. I would say probably. I mean, there's a little area kind of right in here that's okay. It's a one bottom base and then it kind of touched it, right? I would say that there's a small area right there, but really I would be looking for price to come all the way back down in this 51 or 45 51 area if this continues to roll over, if there's no additional positive news in it. Just because there's not really a big movement of price. You can see the basing and the pop. It was a pop in, a base, and a pop out at 45.50 psychological number. Yeah, I'd be looking for that one. So for me right now, I'd probably see this come down again. There is a potential pop here, but again, depending on when we hit it, maybe when everybody gets back from lunch, we can take that. But I'd say for the most part, conservatively, I think price comes down to 44.51, unless we have a major reversal off that level. Okay, NQ. Same thing in the Natick session earlier today. I mentioned that you got to look for some of these big 00 numbers. As you can see, we were pulling back again. We had a basing level. I mentioned this at in the Natick's presentation. You can see here's that 830 level, and it was really getting ready to take off above that 15600. It did in the first This is a 15-minute chart. In the first hour up to 10 o'clock, it just skyrocketed. Huge move in NQ. Gave us 100 points to the top side and did the same thing. Now this is a much better top. Ran into the top, a one candle base, and started to push back down, and then pulled up, and then collapsed right back down to that same level. So in reality, it's not much different. We were sitting right here when Todd and I first started talking. We're basically at the same spot. It went up, it grabbed the next big psychological level, and at 10:30, it rolled and went right back down again. So the move really wasn't there. There wasn't much to do on that one. But again, it was a good opening trade setup today. This would have been a long. It's one of the ones that we mentioned in this morning's session. And again, short duration contracts is the way to do it, right? Going from one psychological level to another one. And then you could technically play it back. But again, let's not get greedy. Let's just focus on the start, right? And again, 15-minute charts, area basing, price pulled back down again, and it was kind of resting there. It was set for an explosion, and we got it. And again, it's still considered up, but um, like I said, right now, I would say probably more basing in this level. It looks like it's going to get boring, honest. All right, YM. This is off a little bit. Hold on. Right there. It doesn't move it much, but the number will drive me crazy. So we were sitting right here. Now we were looking for a pullback, and we got really, really close. Like we had this little area right there. We just didn't get to it. It was super close. It started here and drove down, and then missed it before going back up again. So I would say that this one was not the ideal setup today. I expected it to be a little bit weaker of the all the pairs today. It just felt like it was going to be a sluggish day looking at the overnight price action on it. And it went higher. It ended up not able to make it up to 35,800. It made it up to 776 before rolling. Now this one went a little early because 1030 is sitting right there. That's where the first pullback happened. Then it made one more attempt. It made one more attempt, but then turned and rolled. Now, I do like this level. I do like the way this formed. You have wicks that are ascending. Or declining, sorry. Not ascending, right? That's a level that we'll watch out for as a potential area. And again, it'll be profit target first, but along those lines. And we almost hit this. And again, this is an old area of interest level here. You can see it got super, super close, but we expected with the test here, we expected price to come in there. So I would say right now, what makes this one hard is you got this kind of clunky level over here, right? The last time we used this level, we know that there were sellers here, right? And then we had basic almost yawning your again. Jeez, I must be talking too much. Price popped down twice off that same level and has taken off. Now, price is lowering. I would say right now, look for a level of basing, and there's another short here. If this is the area, it's potential, but we're looking for the base. It may be a little bit lower. It may be in this level. What we're looking for is price in this one to come down and then start basing sideways. And once it bases sideways, it kind of pulls right back into that same Harry Potter based trade, right? We're looking for the pull down, the base, the pull back, and then again, the momentum, kind of the momentum breakout of this channel up top. All right. So we're looking for this one to push down. As far as where it could go, um, probably down. I'm gonna say use the 78.6 as the target. Let me see here. Let's go ahead and put on a short. Let's just, and like I said, you got to figure out where the base is. I'm going to assume that that's the level of basing. Let me see if we have enough room here to run. Look at that, right on. We do. So yeah, so that's not bad if we get that. And again, if we take a bounce off that level, it kind of got just front run right here. It is a 50% with an area of buyers, so it tends to be decent. The only problem that I would have with it is being this high up. It is extremely high on the curve, right? It's extremely high. So again, a reversal there is again a potential trend change. But yeah, I would say that there's a small position here for later on in the day. A break of 35,633. Okay. And again, what it'll probably do is bounce off the 61.8, come back up, and that's where you want it to drop lower. Now, Russell, yeah, Russell's a little volatile, right? 9 o'clock, 9:30 opened all the way down here, and then we shot all the way back up again and rolled all the way back down again. So, yeah, the Russell's getting whipsawed all over the place. Right now on my screen, it is the only red of all the indices. I don't think the other ones are far behind. I think they're pretty close. So, yeah, I don't have a trade set up for this one right now. I would say watch out for this 23.25 up top. That was an area that I had as a potential rollover before. And we don't really have any huge buying until we get back into this level. And this was a big test and everything. I mean, it was very, very fast. This was one of those opening trade setups. I had this on for my students. Right now, I mean, we're dealing with a little bit in here, right? You got a little bit of these guys. I mean, maybe I draw it like that, right? But past this, we break through. There's nothing, nothing. This can come all the way back to the downside. You guys can see 1 to 3 is only right there. It's not even that far, and we don't even have any buyers until a little bit lower, right? We got buyers coming in right, yeah, right there. Buyers are coming in. So not a bad little trade, right? Again, if you like the Russell, not everybody likes it. It's one of those ones that it tends not to be the bigger, the big kind of more graceful. It is definitely whipsawly, and again, evident by the up and down. All right. That's it for the indices. Let's go across and we'll cover the currencies real quick. Now, some of these are flat. So there's been a big push up, and I like the top that this formed. This formed right at 8:30 this morning. Now it was in the middle of a racetrack. I was kind of hoping we go higher so we could grab the short up top. But I think all of these levels. So for this one and the next one, all these levels are important. Okay. Reason why is with news tonight. These are all potential areas that we could bounce off of. So we had a good trade set up from before. I'll remove that now just so we can kind of clear it, right? Let's pull a lot of this off. Yeah, I wanted that pop through and it didn't do it. Yeah, I still think it's the only one I'm really that interested in taking. There's a zone here, but I wouldn't take it. Um, yeah, in reality, it's 37 pips down, right? Oh, let me change this to 30. I was like, wait, why does this look weird? Point 0.8. So it looks like 8 pips is a 30-minute ATR. We got 8 hours. We'd have to get some help. I don't know that we're going to be able to get all the way down there. It's like 40 pips. Hmm. So what I like about this one is literally right now we're sitting right in the middle. I would like it at one of the two extremes. Are there areas in here? I mean, yeah, there's I guess a little level here, but do I really want to mess with, something like CPI in that area? Not so much, right? I mean, that's kind of it's tested, but I mean, there's a small level there, and again, it's bounced off of it. It'd be there. Is there explosive movement over here? A little bit, a little bit. I think this is going to be the big deciding factor is whether we can break through. It's only 7 pips, so it obviously can break right through that. I'm wondering how many of the buyers are going to get eaten up out of there during the day before we can get into that news at night. Hmm. It's going to be a hard one. Like I said, I hate when we're sitting in the middle of two zones. I like it when we're in the top or the bottom, but we're just kind of going in the middle. So, yeah, right now I would say, again, it'd be nice if we rally back up again. I'd like if we could get up to here, up to 75.18 before the news. Love that. Think that's great if we get there for news tonight. Um, that would be an Australian weakness based move, but right now it looks like it's setting up for more of a long opportunity. So yeah, yeah, I would say up we take it. Actually, where is it? Yeah, it's right there. As you guys can see, folding up top is probably a little bit easier. Okay, but that's the move that we're looking for. Is one of those two zones, whether up top, 75.18, or on the bottom at 75.57. Aussie yen. So Aussie yen, interestingly enough, okay, has had a couple different opportunities in here, some zones that we had set. And it's kind of funny that it keeps reversing on different levels, right? It had a 61.8 back down to the 50. Again, level of basing. The second one here, this was turning in no man's land, and it turned at the 78.6. As you can see, this is actually one that I drew as a forecast. When I originally drew this, price was over in here. We weren't all the way down, but I expected us to roll and kind of move off of this zone, and it did. It came all the way down, right? Parabolic move down, parabolic retracement all the way back up again. Kind of some whipsaw back and forth, and there's some small trades there. I would say right now, with it basing, I mean, a couple of these levels you got to watch out for. Watch for news tonight. And again, I keep talking about the news. I'm talking about the CPI quarter over quarter, right? High impact news, right? If we pull up into this zone, could we potentially take a short off of this level here? Yeah. Yeah, we could. This trade is already finished and out. So let's remove it so we can get a clean look at this. Oof. This got a couple zones here. There's a little zone right there. Kind of a zone right in there. And again, this is a nice little test here too, but not the best drawing. So there's a couple different areas. Supposed to be 0.8. Yeah, I would like to see kind of where we're at, right? I mean, really, that one's going to be harder to do, but probably there. I kind of want to see where I'm at if price drops down. With price dropping down, I think there's some opportunity there, right? Um, hmm, trying to figure out. I'm like, I kind of like these three, but I'm like, where is 30? 31 is probably going to be where it is. 48. Yeah, so I would say 8 o'clock tonight, jump over there, screenshot this one, do whatever you want to do. Look for these three different levels in here, or vice versa. Maybe it rallies back up again. If it rallies up, it's preparing for an Aussie weakness based move. And again, that could be pretty decent. The risk level on this one is rather small. It's only 9 pips. So could it be a potential roll? Yeah, it's not a bad spot actually if it rolls. Again, it would be high in the curve in the top 33% anyway. So a couple different opportunities in that one. Again, both these two were in play. Euro pound. So Euro pound, we talked about a break at 84.22. If you look at this on a lower time frame, you can see that's exactly what happened. Did not give us an entry here. It literally broke in one in the same candle, came right back again. So it did not give us the drop, the space, and the move. But this did. And then it went sideways. Whoops. Then it went sideways, right? Then it went back up, and then it dropped right to the downside. So nice Harry Potter trade in that one, right to the downside. As you can see, I mean, it's, if I extend this across, you can see that, again, this was a no trigger. This was one trigger, and then it hit again and went right back down again, and then just got kind of front run. So I'd say right now, I mean, with what we're seeing with the European Union and Germany's base numbers, and then again, what we're seeing in the UK, UK has been kind of winning this battle, but you can see it's not been an easy one. It's a chop back and forth. So, you know, I would say I would not take this level again. It's already hit it once. It kind of got front run. We're kind of pushing it if we try to go much further than that. Um, let me see if we got. That's what I was looking for. Right. There we go. Looks like 135. This basing level kind of gave it up right here. Right. 163.65. Oops, not what I wanted to do. Let's pull this in, go right there. There we go. Trying to see if I could get it, refine it just a little bit. Let me see if I can refine it. Come on, come on, come on. Ooh, I can't say good. All right. I was hoping that I'd be able to sneak that in. Actually, that's still pretty good on the 2 hour. Yeah, it's fine. All right. So there we go. We know we got a reversal level down here. Again, large area. Look for a bounce, a pull up, and then a push down again that doesn't go as low. That would be your trigger to go high. Okay. Look for a potential reversal here. And again, this could be that monetary policy. They may start talking about, hey, the strategic allocation works so good, right? It works so good that we're actually going to start our taper a month early. And that's kind of one of those things like, whoop, Euro's moving, Euro strength, look for a pop and a reversal up top. Euro yen, as I mentioned, Euro yen was having some issues. Euro yen came up to a level here and literally started the base and do its thing. The 1030 candle is right there, right? You can see this last little green push where the close and open is the 1030 candle. All it had done is push right back up to an area of sellers. Didn't necessarily love this one because it had already been really pushed to the very, very brink. It looks like they were grabbing from up here is what was happening, and that's kind of where it hit. So was it a great spot trade? Not really. Was it a decent Forex trade? Not really. Was it a decent futures trade? Not really. Was it a good Nadex trade setup? Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good because it did go a little bit out depending on where you drew the top, and it was still a 30-put mover, right? Here was the original zone that we drew on, but again, it pushed it to the brink. We knew that we had this little area up top, and that's all it did was it went a little higher, right? If you take this next zone that these used, it did the same thing, but it's third hit, so is what it is. So I would say right now, wait for this one to come back down again. I would say wait for it to come back down into here. The way the candles are formed right now, I don't have a great trade setup for it, unfortunately. It's not one that I'm willing to kind of take long on the bottom side. I do think it will give us the pattern when it's time, but it's not there yet. But most likely it's going to be down here somewhere in the 132-ish range. 132 is sitting right there. I'm assuming down here where this level of basing is where it's going to come in. But I'd like to see a new level of basing, not using this one that had all these candles and everything. This is just way too much. Okay. Euro dollar. So euro dollar. So this is one of those ones. You may say, wait a second, Brian, the fibs are not here. You're right. The fibs are not here, right? Even though that's the low. Why? Because I drew it when price was over here. What I was using was my two zones and basically saying that this is going to be an eventual fib that's going to happen. So it's kind of like I joked about it earlier. It's forecasting with fibs. The nice thing about the forecasting with fibs thing here was I was like, hey, listen, it's nice because if we go from this level here at 116.62, this was a level we were giving you guys last week, right? We talked about this 116.62. It's been a while. Um, but this was there from last week. You can see we tagged it, right? Huge drop away from it, and the opposing side was the 1572. So I had pre-drawn kind of the opposite of this side. I had just pre-drawn because I wanted to see where the pullbacks were. You can see there was a 50% pullback at a level of basing, right? Gotta love it. Gotta love that golden setup, and it went well past, right? And this was basically this morning trade. This actually triggered at 7 a.m. this morning. Right now, the trade is at a 1 to 4.5. Your 1 to 3, because that's the base that we use, is right there. Okay, so you can see very, very fast trade, confirmation bounce. What do I mean by that? You could have taken it here, or here's that failure to go any higher, right? Price came up, it did not go as high, and then pulled away. And again, there's your 1 to 3 base trade. So again, using fibs to forecast to kind of overlay with other scenarios. Again, it was a move that we saw on the way up, and we're just riding the move on the flip side back to the downside. So nice trade. It's done now. I would say that there's probably one more in that area. You could draw this and you could make an argument and say, well, wait a second, look at that. That's a new level. It is kind of, but I mean, there's the original move. You can take advantage of it if you want. Session opener will be better than anything else. Okay. Session opener will be better than anything else. Let's see. Oh, neck was like in a weird crink right there. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. Would I take this right directly long off the 115.72? It's not a bad level. I mean, you can see we had the base here, we touched it, and that was the takeoff point. I would say right now it's more of a target. Okay. I would like to see if this same pattern only flipped, right? Instead of seeing this push down and push back up again, but not as high for the trigger, I would like to see the exact opposite. So I would like to see price come down. I would like to see it pull up, right? And then I want to see it pull down again, but not as high as this one, right? And then what I'm looking for is a nice move. I'm looking for this. And again, I can delete this. It doesn't matter, right? A hit, a lower hit, a higher hit, and that's your signal to go back up again. All right. Pound yen. So pound yen had quite a lot of just nothing. I think it's important to point out here that the pound yen really did nothing until about this moment in time. And that was when the European session came online, right? Even yesterday, really didn't do much. Well, it went up. It was flirting with this area here. This area here. Oops. This area here. And it did the same exact thing over here again and again. It's an area where sellers have stepped in. Was it a good channel to take a short of? No. Does it look like you're like, oh, I wish I would have taken that one? Yeah, it's always hindsight's 2020, but this area's been hit 3 times already, a 4th time here, almost a 5th time. Now you're waiting for this to go higher. And again, we have a target up top. We weren't really looking for this to roll. We were waiting for it to go higher to get a better entry, but the first target we are looking for was the 158.10. Didn't make it there before it turned and flipped. So, it's there. I would say that the pound yen is in an interesting situation. If you want to look at pound news for the week, right? Easy way to do that is just to flip over here and say, look at that. We got an annual budget release and then nothing else. So, yeah, not too many catalysts for this one for this week. So, a lot of times no news is good news, but no news does not mean that it's a popping based trade, right? It tends to be that there is a little bit of whipsaw going back and forth. That makes sense. Pound dollar. So pound dollar, you guys can see that we had a setup here short. It came back up and it touched it on the 25th yesterday at the European session open, and it came down and really did nothing. It just based. It actually did touch it again and push back lower and just use that same level for basing, but it had already pushed in twice. We weren't taking this one for a long. You can see we had another level up top. We had a level of basing. It pushed it, and hit it again and again. This was the only reason we drew it, right? The only reason we drew it was because it barely got in here and then collapsed. Had you drawn this one, you can look like a rock star and be like, look, I continued it across. The only reason why I would have traded this one at all is because this one kicked in at that 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, that like pre-news, right? Um, all, and you can see this wasn't kicking in until 10. So this was kind of like a pre-market, pre-positioning. And in reality, all it was profit taking because there was the European session right there, right? European session is in the trend or in the channel, skyrocketed us higher, profit taking before the US trader got online. US trader got online right here in the space. And they were like, huh? What? No. And pushed it right back down to where the Europeans started. So looks like absolutely no movement. That's all we did. Whip up, grab the level that had been tested before, and then just drop right back down again. So, love to say that this was an incredible trade, but there's much better opportunities out there. Not much you can do with this one at this point, right? But I think one of the things that I have been watching, it is on my list, right? I do have alerts set, right? You guys know that I use different alerts. You can add an alert or add a watch list, right? A lot of ways to do it. We get a break of 137.09. I'm using that as a more or less a trigger, but I'm looking for this to continue all the way back down to 136.80 or 136.70 ish. Probably. I probably want to make sure that I'm out before this 136.66. But yeah, a little bit more push down, and again, we may be looking at this is our bottom basing area right now. I'll take both of these out just so you guys are like, wait a second, there's too many stuff I can't follow, right? It may be looking for a break of that, right? This is the one we got to clear. This is the next obstacle was this base, and again, cleared it here, but established it again, established it, established. We'll see. All right, so 137.09, dollar CAD. Dollar CAD is just whipping back and forth. So we'd want a dollar CAD to come back down and test these lower levels at 123.30. It came back up, 12:30 yesterday. Made an attempt again at the European session, and European session open was right there. That green candle is the 3 o'clock candle. European session drove it down. This looks just like oil, right? And then US session started right there. So it was down in the European session and went right back up in the US base session. So it's at a level where I'd love to say, hey, listen, we probably get short this one. But right now, what are we seeing? We're seeing a lot of CAD weakness, right? We're seeing a lot of CAD weakness. Why is that important? Well, tomorrow they have this, all this. So I would expect this to continue into the night. It's not a trade that I really want to get into necessarily. If you are looking to take something with a little bit lower risk, one of the things you can do is wait till the Nadex contracts close for today and tomorrow's contracts reprint. Okay. Why are we saying that? Because then you have the duration to take advantage of the news. Okay. Truly. God, I'm so sorry, guys. I would not trade this one with a knockout. The reason why is because, again, with any type of whipsaw back and forth, the knockout stands that get taken out. But after the Nadex contracts reprint today at 6, now we can get into a call spread where we don't have that knockout issue on the top side. Okay. Me personally, I would like this to drive. I want it to continue driving. You can see over here the Canadian news is coming in right here. Ways that we are playing this news, you can do the 531, but if we can get price to move from here and just kind of meander its way, it can go slow. I don't care, right? I would be looking for a nice little trade to the downside here. Now, question is, can we get in close enough proximity that a call spread matches up? That's the big question, which I don't know. I'm not the market maker, but we need a little bit more help. We need a little bit more CAD weakness, right? We need the dollar to rally a little bit more and get us up there before the news release for tomorrow. Okay. Dollar Swiss. So, Dollar Swiss. This is another one of those forecasting with fibs. I actually drew this one when prices over here, when it was up here, and I was like, yeah, I needed to be front run. I needed to come down and grab this 41.50. Again, psychological number. I need you to grab it before we break lower. And it did. When we drew it, it was actually here. It did come down. It didn't hit here. It actually hit here. Okay. And what did it do? Came all the way back up, grabbed the 50, same level of basing, and bam, slammed down almost immediately. And then kind of came up and has been doing its thing. And interesting enough, it got almost up to the 78. But again, the 50 is what we were looking for. And like I said, price was, we were sitting right here when I did this. So again, using the tools that you have, Kind of a little bit of forecasting, right? I was kind of looking for a trade setup down the road. It was on my watch list. And again, did I know it was going to bounce off of here? No, I didn't, but I like both of the areas. I like the psychological number, and it did. When it turned here, I was like, yeah, that's a good one if we can get back up. And it did. It confirmed it. It tagged my line, came all the way up rather quickly. And again, it was an almost instantaneous, US session based move right back to the downside. We're in that level right now. Right, we're in that level right now. So that trade is out. That trade is done. Now the question is, what do we do with it? Right. We do have the economic barometer later in the week. We have that right here, Friday, 3 a.m. Okay. So what I would say, if the dollar Swiss is something that's on your radar, I don't love the pair, but it's there. I would say if we can get price the rally back up in this level here at 92.42, you'll see a green arrow coming across. That would be an area where I'd be willing to take somewhat of a short, right? Before the news, right? Before the news. Okay. Vice versa, if it continues to drive back down again, it is a potential long as well, right? So again, kind of giving us our top and bottom here. Dollar yen, kind of a similar setup, but this one has been quite ugly. I would say right now, 114.61 and 112.98, top and bottom, are really our two sides, right? But right now, it's like, is a really strong movement. There's a couple areas that are okay, but I think there's so much better opportunity out there with Aussie yen and pound yen versus messing around over here on the dollar yen. So I'm gonna skip it and just again have alert set if price gets either of those close to either of those two areas. It's okay, but until we get to either of those two, it's kind of I think there's better opportunity. All right, let's dive into the commodities. Last but not least, so commodities. Talk about some whipsaws, right? We saw this one shoot up. We saw it shoot down at the open. And again, I'll mark this one off for you. So there's our low at 8:30, and there's our 4:15 or our 2:15 time frame. So that's where we're standing right now. I would say watch where price is right now. It's up at 84.73. There's not really enough time left in the trading day for oil for us to really be able to kind of take advantage of this one, right? But does that mean that we can't place, trades for tomorrow? No, I think at this point, we've seen kind of sellers coming in, right? We've seen sellers coming in up in this area, right? We've seen them kind of jump in, and again, it's at the 85, right? The 85 is sitting right there, right? There's your 85 mark. We're getting close. We start to stall at all. Looking for look for the profit taking with G20 coming. 3 different nations have said this needs to be taken care of. Like OPEC is holding back supply. The prices are getting out of control and they're still holding back supply. Like something needs to be done. I think they start talking like that. We start seeing oil come back down again. It doesn't matter how big demand is. When multiple countries have said the price has gotten too high, we're going to do something about it. They need to increase supply, and again, Russia's made comments. Their energy minister made comments about how Russia would do everything they can to help the oil situation. It's like, okay, so produce more oil. You're the one that was one of the driving forces to cut it, right? To stabilize prices, to make it higher. So I'd be looking for a short. I think finding some short opportunity from the 85 level is decent. I know Maryland. I saw what was it like 340 or something like that was our guess. 350. Yeah, people are going to start getting unhappy about that one. So again, G20, we know we're talking about it. Gold. We talked about being really kind of in this range and really so many wicks, right? Well, we talked about what happened, and all of a sudden, look at this. We came down, we broke through that 1800. We actually did. I mean, again, if we drop it to a 15, you can see it. We actually did come down. We did base. We did pull back again, right to that 18 again. Like 18 was actually a zone and not just a psychological level. And we collapsed all the way back down to the 1781. So in the next presentation this morning, I talked about the 1781 level. It was decent again. It withheld the last barrage and buyer stepped in. This one went just slightly lower. Since the bounce off of that one, it's up about $11. I closed it down by mistake. Let me pull back up for you real quick. Reason why I wanted to bring this one up. Where is it? I'm just pulling it up real quick, guys. Let's see. No, not there. Where is it? Right here. I'm trying to pull it up on the contract. I'm trying to draw it on the same way. Let's bring this in. You guys should be able to see that. You guys can see right here, the 8 a.m. to 1:30. Now, my opinion is I like the 8:30 to 1:30 better than the dailies, right? The reason I like this one is because prices already moved around. There's not as much in there. If we're using the same zone, you can see that we're using the basing level here that we touched. It's kind of the same scenario over here. Not as clean over here, but we had the same basing level. So actually, let's put this on a 30. Yeah, I just wanted to make it as identical as possible. Um, just to show it to you guys. And there's the area. So you can see we knew we had buyers stepping in. Even if we took this down just a little bit to where they were last time, it did go a little bit lower. This is what we're talking about taking the opportunity. Now, it's only got 34 minutes left. Did it skyrocket all the way back up? No, no. But this is the difference between taking a call spread and a knockout. When this expires, it has a certain inherent value in there. Where if we had taken something a little bit farther out of the money, I was a little bit concerned after we drove all the way down that it wouldn't be able to go enough strike prices higher because there seemed to be a lot of premium in this one today. So, again, more of a call spread setup. But that's why, again, when we talk about picking the right strike, you want to make sure that you find it over here, right? And again, the 830 on gold was a little bit better. But again, nice little drop in. You know, bring it back over here. You guys can see the timing of this one too. That is the 10 o'clock candle. So again, reversing on a 1030 in an area of buyers. That's a typical strategy that we're always looking for, right? Again, 1030 reversal after a big push in price. Europeans didn't do much with it. US trader at 730 shot it right down into a level of buyers, and now it's popping. So, some good opportunity there. I would say right now, I don't know. We'll see if we can get some headlines this afternoon. Remember, the gold market is really kind of shuts down a little bit early, right? It's that 1:30 time frame. Again, expires in 33 minutes. Not a lot more movement in there to trade it with Nadex. I think tomorrow, watch out for this level again, see what we get with buyers, and kind of see where we push it in the overnight session. Tomorrow, tonight with CPI, it will help gold a little bit. And durable goods orders, we'll kind of see. Tomorrow, again, if they mention inflation inside of the BOC statement at 10, we may get some movement, but we'll see what it does in the overnight. I think important levels to watch out for are, again, 1781. 1800 and this 1812 to 1814 range is the last time that it really kind of withstood buying pressure on the top side. Okay. Now silver's kind of going off to the races. Now silver, this is another one that I was doing some forecasting with, and you can see it didn't make it all the way up, right? I was looking for it to come all the way up to the 25. I was playing the round number scenario here, and I mentioned this earlier, the 23 and the 25. Had I not used that scenario and I pulled it back, right? To right there, I'll remove, there's a level of basing here, obviously, right? Again, I was using this level here at 24. If I move this across, right, you guys can see exactly what we hit. The level of basing, and again, I was trying to forecast if we came all the way up, where would my entry be? This is why it's important to draw these. There's your push to here, right? And I just brought it across so it paints it. It came back down again. Look what number is right there. The 50% retracement level at an area of basing, which is right there. Right there. And boom, it's moving. So, again, a couple ways that you could have played this one. And I actually like this one. I think we will see a little bit more inflation. We actually need a little bit of help from China on this one. The data has been great, but China does help move this. I think the Aussie number tonight could also help silver, because if they see it in the gold side, they're going to want to jump into it in silver. Again, the silver reaction tends to be about twice as much. It gets to be positive, we can start taking buys off of this level. I think it'll be good, but we got to make sure that it holds from now till then. All right. And then last but not least, natural gas. Natural gas is down 2.2%. It was down 4% and kind of came back. And again, you're seeing the basing level right here. So it kind of bounced. It's actually right there's the takeoff point. It kind of took off where it was supposed to. It went a little bit early. This is only the 10 o'clock candle. The 1030 is the second green here. So a little bit early in this one. If anything, this would have been more of your profit target. You can see the failure to go higher top, the bounce, the push, the pullback, and then the collapse. Natural gas inventory reports are Thursday. They will move a bit tomorrow. We'll see what the inventory looks like. Again, weather reports are really what's controlling this one the most. One day says that we're, having an Armageddon in propane because we can't get it supposedly. And then, the next day, the government comes out with a report that says this is going to be a warmer than normal winter. So it's been an interesting play back and forth. The way to take this one is obviously early morning, not so much at 12:30, but here is the European Open. Just so you guys know, if we're going in the future, there's the European Open, right? And then there's your 10 o'clock. So most of the movement occurred between really 3 a.m. and about 10. We're getting a little bit late in the day to be able to do much with this one. Okay, but I would watch that $6.04. That's a decent level, and then downside. We have a target down here at $4.76. I'd probably watch the level. Whoops. Move this over here. I would watch this level because it has been bounced off of and tested. I would say watch $4.91. I'm curious to see uh, if we can clear this level, right? We have two levels in here we need to clear. And if this is our top. $6.04, $4.91. And then again, the gap area we need to close and the buyers that kind of stabilize our price right here. And that is $50.60. So silver's got some play. Natural gas has some play in this one. Um, like I said, I want this one personally. I mean, my own selfish. I want it, back down to like $3. But I don't know that we're gonna get that one anytime soon. So natural gas is an interesting one. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Make sure you mark your calendars off Tuesday, November 2nd at 12 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back again. This is a big week. Don't let this week go by. There are so many news releases that you definitely don't want to let it go. Make sure you're taking advantage of these things. A lot of these monetary policy statements are going to shoot the currencies all over the place. Then the currencies, then the indices react on the back end of it. So again, a lot of opportunity. Definitely, 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 definitely. If you guys are not doing this, and again, this is my closing bit here. If you're not doing this every day when the strikes reopen at 6 o'clock, make sure you're going to look to see where the top of those call spreads are and where the new binary ranges are for those overnight based trades. A lot of them have been really good when they set up, and a lot of these things are extreme ranges, particularly the yen and the euro and the pound pairs are kind of at extreme ranges right now. Those are the times to take advantage of those call spreads, particularly at the extreme ranges above the floor and the ceiling. All right. So, any questions that you have, like I said before, you guys are more than welcome to message me. Support at keeptradingsimple.com. Thank you guys for attending today. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the Nadex broadcast on YouTube. If you don't know how to find it, go to YouTube, type in Nadex, click the follow icon, and then the bell notification. So when we go live, you get notified on your devices. And again, we're on 15 minutes every morning, finding out what is hot in the markets for the day. With that said, you guys have a great trading day, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Take care.